Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series. We cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Well, we're coming very close to the end of the book of Job, and as we read this chapter 39, I remember what A.W. Tozer, the great theologian, said about a man's view of God. He said a man's view of God is the most telling thing about him. He said, you tell me what a husband really thinks about God, and I'll tell you what that marriage is like. Tell me what a pastor thinks about God deep in his heart, and I'll tell you the future of that church. And so it's very revealing. And so that's the thing that God is probing with Job in this book. He asks him a host of questions. He says, listen, he uses animals to probe Job's understanding of animals, to probe to see how Job understands life and how Job understands God. He says, what about the mountain goat? Who gave it birth? Were you there? What about the wild donkey? Who set it free? Did you ever try to train it? What about the wild ox? Why is it so wild? Why won't it be harnessed into a yoke? What about an ostrich? Not the cleverest of animals, but runs like a horse. What about horses? The strength and the fearlessness of a horse. Where did that come from? Why do animals behave like they behave, is what he's asking Job. He says, you got the answer to those questions? I might listen to some of the things that you are suggesting. What about the hawk in the sky, the eagle in the sky? And so up to this point, God has listed 59 questions of Job. He asks him these, he puts him up against a wall and says, now I'm going to ask you these questions. God didn't need to know the answers, did he? He was getting Job to the sober realization that Job had a skewed view of God, a skewed view of the world, a skewed view of creation, and his approach to God needed to be adjusted. So the Lord said to Job, this is now chapter 40, will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. So God is basically saying to Job, the way you were questioning me, you're accusing me and you're questioning me. He says, now listen, I'm going to ask you a few more questions. Then Job answered the Lord. It's like suddenly Job changes his tune. He says, I'm unworthy. How can I reply to you? He says, I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer. Very wise. He basically says, I'm going to be silent before you. I realize, even though I was in my suffering, I presumed stuff about you. I presumed about your motives. I presumed about creation. I presumed about the reason behind why this has happened to me. I realize now that I absolutely know nothing, and I'm all ears. I'm all ears. I don't want to tell you anything. I want to listen from you, is basically what he's saying. Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. He said, brace yourself like a man. I'm going to question you. You shall answer me. He says, look, you haven't fully grasped this. I'm going to push it even some more. Would you discredit my justice? He says, you've queried my knowledge. You've queried my motive. Now you even discrediting my justice. He says, would you unleash the fury of your wrath and look at those who are proud and bring them low? Look at those who are proud and humble them, crush the wicked where they stand. Is that what you want to do? Is you want to judge the wicked? God's basically saying to Job, I'm gracious. I give people a second chance. I want people to repent. I want people to turn. You misunderstood that about me. Don't mistake my grace for my justice. Don't mistake the fact that I'm slow to anger for the fact that I'm going to be judging those who are stepping over the line. He says, you've misunderstood my justice. And then he says, then I myself will admit to you that you have a right, that you can save yourself. But quite clearly God's saying to him, you can't save yourself. Look at the behemoth. This is an animal that some have said was probably an elephant. Others said, no, hippopotamus, because it's got to do with water. Still others have said, this is the brontosaurus. This is the dinosaur that disappeared. But whatever it is, it's this fearsome, massive animal. And God says, I made him when I made you. And it's almost like God saying, the troubles the behemoths that have come across your life, the troubles the big, unexplainable animals that have walked into your life, I made them. And I can handle them. Trust me with them. So I suppose as I bring this chapter to a close, I'm asking myself, Lord, Shape my understanding of you, my view of you, not only your nature, your goodness, but show me your heart. Show me why you do things. I don't want to be caught that side of the fence, pointing my finger at God when I know very little, telling him why he should do things and when he should do them.